But, you know, Congressman Engel, you mentioned maintaining the United States' position as a leader in the world and not ceding that to another country, whether it's China or Russia, who's been very aggressive. And it's not just maintaining a strong defense. I represent what's known as a Military City USA, San Antonio, Texas. Once upon a time, we had 5 military bases in San Antonio. We still have Joint Base San Antonio, which is a large operation. So it's not just about a strong defense, which we all support, but also about the hard work of diplomacy and development. Because when the United States, who's been a leader for so long, if we back away from our commitments, then we not only cede it to somebody else, but there's a good chance that a lot of that work is not going to get done. That the peoples in many nations around the world are going to become poorer, more desperate, and from that, only bad things can happen, both for those peoples, but also for the neighboring countries, for the United States, and for the world. And so thank you for lending your strong voice to support for the diplomatic budget.
Well, thank you. If the gentleman would yield, I couldn't agree with him more. And you know, it's especially interesting since during the campaign, President Trump attacked the previous administration of not being strong enough, of not showing American presence. And now with this cut, with this proposed 31% cut, I couldn't think of anything that would make us weaker or make us unable to do what we need to do. So I hope the President remembers what he said during the campaign and acts accordingly so that these massive cuts can be taken away.
No, absolutely. And Congressman Cetas, you recall that during those months, then candidate Trump talked about backing away from NATO, about allowing Germany, for example, to handle the issues between Russia and the Baltic states, about allowing or really forcing Japan and South Korea to go it alone or to develop even their own nuclear weapons to combat the threat of North Korea, to deal with China's aggressiveness in the South China Sea. So the more we go down that road, not only do we abandon those nations who have been friends for so long and allies and supporters for so long in keeping the peace, but we also, in the long run, threaten our own security.
If I may, I couldn't agree with you more. Just to bring it even closer to home, we recently met with the attorney generals from the Northern Triangle. These attorney generals have been fighting corruption, have been fighting the cartel. We have assisted them with a small amount of money. These people put their lives every day in peril, fighting the cartel, fighting this corruption. And in our conversation, they said to me, we need America's support to continue our work. If we stop now, all that we have accomplished till now is going to go for naught. And when you're talking about a small amount of money, the strong impact that it has on countries that for decades and decades and decades have experienced a great deal of corruption. And we finally have people that have stepped forward and want to fight this corruption and put their lives in peril every single day. I think we should support those people. Cutting and running away from these people can only hurt us. And this is just one small example of the impact that this 30% cut would have on this region.
And you mentioned the Northern Triangle countries of Central America, especially over the last few years, thousands and thousands of women and children who are fleeing very desperate situations there, not only extreme poverty, but the threats of violence by drug gangs, for example, have come to the Texas-Mexico border seeking asylum. And the Congress did, over the last few years, essentially pass assistance for these nations. And we understood that, look, you know, if you allocate $600 million to 3 countries, that's not going to solve all of their problems. Nobody is under that illusion. But it can go a long way in being the seed funds to start to turn these things around, these nations around.
And if the gentleman would yield,
Yes.
I would add that we give foreign aid, and it's good for those countries, but it's also good for us.
Right.
It also helps us. If there is a drug problem in Central America, it inevitably comes up to our border. If there is some problem of some developing country, let's say we have a disease that could Ebola or something like that, and we give money to help eradicate it, well, that will prevent Ebola from coming into the United States. So it's really a win-win situation. And again, if we're going to be the leaders of the world, certainly of the free world, and we want other countries to follow our lead, well, if you're a leader, you have to lead. And what we're doing is in our own best interest, not only just in the other country's best interest. And I think it's important to say that, and it's important to again say 1%, 1.4% of our total budget is all the foreign aid and all the money that we give in terms of eradicating diseases, in terms of crime, in terms of everything that is actually very important to us as well. The American people think it's much higher, but it's not.
Right.
And so if you take the president's slashing of it, it would virtually make all of this impossible to do. So it's a program that's a win-win situation.
Oh, and Congressman Engel, you mentioned Ebola, for example. Dallas, Texas was the first American city to confront the challenge and the problem of Ebola. So I couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, it should also be said that if you take away this aid and you have people becoming more desperate in nations around the world, they do become more susceptible to being employed by cartels, for example, drug cartels, or being lured by terrorist organizations, because these folks are desperate and need to survive. And so these rogue alternatives become more attractive to them. And so it's important to point out that a lot of this development, a lot of this aid also prevents some of these things from happening.
Well, absolutely. And again, I want to reiterate that we're not the leaders of the world because we anointed ourselves. We're the leaders of the world because we've provided leadership for all these years, particularly after World War II. And it's important to engage with the world. One of you mentioned some of the things that the president said. You know, one of the things he did was he called NATO obsolete. That kind of talk worries me because it's our alliances that are the pillar of our foreign policy and the strength of the United States and our alliances, which have worked so well since World War II. Right. So if we denigrate our alliances and then we cut funding for all these programs that help various countries so we can be a leader by about a third, that doesn't say much for a robust foreign policy. You get to be a leader by acting like a leader, not by pulling away from the world.
Absolutely. Thank you, Congressman. And I'll be the last word.
Well, I just want to, before we finish, compliment the Chairman Royce, Ranking Member Elliott, on a recent resolution that we worked together on, encouraging Argentina to continue on the path under new President Macri. Former President Kirchner decided that she was going to be an isolationist. Argentina is too big. It's a country that could be a player in assisting us in any crisis that we have in South America. So this resolution, did not cost any money, but it shows our friendship, it shows our support, and it shows that they are moving in the right direction.
Thank you, gentlemen.
My compliments to you, my compliments to the people that signed this resolution.
Thank you.
And our compliments to you.
And I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. Say again.